What is up, guys? We are out here on Australia. We're gonna do a little bit of croc hunting along this beach, which I've often pointed out is probably the best place for new players to get that XP and the money. And we're also going to be talking about the winter preview. We just saw it, Jaxie and the team at Expensive Worlds laying out the plans for December 3rd, which is the date where we're finally going to get everything that they've been kind of promising us. So I took away some pros and I took away some cons. So this is going to be, I actually did a review just a few minutes ago, which was an absolutely glowing endorsement. And now I'm sitting here thinking about it. So we're going to get into the pros and the cons now that I think about it. And upon further review, okay, so the video starts off in a very concerning way, for me at least. And they start off with a new dog. I don't hunt with dogs. I do not care about dogs. I have never cared about dogs. I should have brought a shotgun just in case we ran into a nice little stubble quail. But the dog didn't interest me until they started talking about the reworking mechanics. And if they're reworking the dog mechanics to really fit at least what I envision from what he said, then I get the purpose. Like, that's going to be a pretty cool rework. So the dog we're going to get is going to be a German short-haired pointer. And apparently, I mean, the aesthetics of the dog looks great. I know there's people in the community who have talked about them doing more with dogs, and apparently they have. They've even put, like, the dog uses the bathroom now, the dog does this now, the dog does that now. Apparently with this new mechanic with the pointer, you can task the dog to go find an animal and it'll do it. If that's true, and it's really how that works, then the chore of going to find a snow leopard just got greatly reduced. For better or for worse, it's definitely got greatly reduced. If I can go send the pointer to go find me a snow leopard, then that's what I'm going to do. Because I still got to get that off my map. So that's definitely what we're going to do. And I think, that's going to make things more convenient. I don't know how much people who may have diamond snow leopards and had to do it the hard way will enjoy that. But we'll see. He did say that it was kind of OP when they first beta tested it, I guess, and they reworked it to where it's not like he doesn't just go find you a diamond snow leopard upon command. But when I first saw the dog is what they wrote out first, I was really concerned. And then they give us, they kind of buried the lead with the dog, because the big news is Salzweisen Park. That is the new map, and we are getting a new map on the 6th, or on the 3rd. The 3rd. I know it's the 3rd, I just don't want to steer you guys wrong. Don't want to steer anybody wrong. Let me make sure.
Peggy 16.
It shouldn't be that long. I'll see it is the 3rd. Alright, guys, so the 3rd. We are getting a new map on the 3rd along with the dog. This new map is not Greenland, and it's not a winter map like we were hoping. It is a German map, which also was concerning to me because I really, really hate Hirschfelden with a passion. However, on the positive side, this looks like the opposite of Hirschfelden. It's the Hirschfelden aesthetic. I would put it like this. I think the map appears to be if Hirschfelden had a love child with Reventuli. That's a pretty solid way to put it. It seems like, this guy's coming right at me. You still haven't got a good shot on him. But it definitely looks like we're probably getting an amalgamation of Hirschfelden and Reventuli. It's supposed to be a small game map, kind of like Reventuli. I don't dislike that at all. I think that Reventuli is a great time. The map it feels full, it feels alive. You're never really bored, so I do not dislike the idea of having a second small game map. I do like, I guess this is another thing that's going to be fairly nice to see. It looks like they scaled down the map. That's kind of the way he made it sound. And they scaled down the map to a point
That's a magpie goose.
where I'm not sitting there like I was on Hirschfelden.
Find in Australia.
All right, buddy, be quiet.
Somewhere between a dinosaur, a bird, and a goose. They're the only surviving species of their family.
Oh, good one. Okay, you're done talking. He said that they have brought the map down. It's not nearly as big as other maps, which is great. And he said they also kept the different biomes, also great. So as far as the map, yes, it's going to look like Hirschfelden is on Germany. I'm cautiously optimistic because I do hate Hirschfelden. However, if this is just a better version of Hirschfelden, right? It's just a Hirschfelden aesthetic, but plays more like Reventuli, then we may be in business, guys. We may be in business, but one thing that I will say is kind of disappointing. When they rolled out Reventuli, you got, this is a big gator, a croc, so this is what we're looking for. But when they rolled out Reventuli, it came with dozens of new species, right? Dozens. Like, everywhere you look, there was something brand new to hunt on Reventuli. Can I get a good shot on you? Yeah, buddy. But everywhere you went on Reventuli was a brand new species. Not just ducks either, right? They had... He's a gold. They had the raccoon dog on Reventuli. They had... Okay, buddy. They had the raccoon dog on Reventuli. They had different grouse species that acted kind of like... The only thing similar to that we'd seen at that point was turkey. It's when they rolled out Capercaillie. They rolled out so many different species. It sounds like on this map we're gonna have to roll back our expectations for species, because he made it sound like we're getting 2 new species. I'm excited to have new species, but I wanted more than 2. Just gonna be honest with you. I wanted more than 2. And they're going to be 2 duck species. The Fergus duck, which is, I mean, what I believe he said. I rolled it back several times to try to figure it out. I even put closed captions on, but like, you know, it was kind of hard to tell what he said. But the Fergus duck is what I think he said, and it looks great. It's going to look good. And we're getting a rework for ducks as a whole, it sounds like. So like all that's great, but only getting the Fergus duck, and the other one is the Gadwall duck. Or if you're a duck hunter, if you've ever duck hunted anywhere, then you probably are familiar with that. It's great to have new species, but only 2. You know, only 2. We would have preferred to see more. Even if they're not on this new map, they could have backfilled species alongside their new ones. They could have given us like a wood duck on Mississippi. They could have given us a coot on Mississippi, something like that. But instead, we're only going to get 2 new species. And, I mean, that part's a little bit disappointing. So, as far as the dog, I'm indifferent, unless, of course, they did change the mechanics. And in which case, I'm cautiously optimistic about that. The map, I guess, cautiously optimistic about that too, guys. It didn't blow me away when I first saw it. I personally would have rather seen, I mean, I had other ideas that I know the community has put out there, but I don't dislike it. I think it could be great, especially if it plays more like Reventuli, or even a smaller version of Reventuli. That would be great, because it's supposed to just be small game, it looked like. But to be decided is, I guess, the final judgment on this map and the dog. All right, this is the point where they kind of started losing me a little bit. We are getting a new great one, and I think that's great. You know, I wanted a new great one. We talked about I wasn't super impressed with Tar. And the community as a whole has always wanted the same thing that I wanted, and I think a lot of people are going to be a little disappointed in the fact that the great one isn't a muley. We wanted a diamond mule deer. We're not getting one. We are getting 2 new great ones, though, this time. This will be the first time they're going to roll 2 new ones out. It's going to be a fox, and it's going to be a pheasant. Now, for me, I am going to be curious to see how the community responds to the fact, that was a terrible shot, how the community responds to the fact that their methods for great one hunting is not going to work anymore. It's like, that's dead. The grind thing that we all used to do with the tents is going to be virtually this guy is making it impossible. But it's going to be pretty much impossible to do pheasant that way. Even fox, you're not going to get in the same large numbers. The developer kind of even laughed about it, and he said that it's going to be the Dark Souls of great one hunting, and like that's what it sounds like to me too. It's going to be quite a challenge, which I'm okay with that portion of it. I think great ones have greatly, with stacking and herd management, great ones have definitely lost a little bit of their mystique, I guess. And maybe this is going to be one of those that get people back into great one hunting. I don't know, but for me, I still wanted a mule deer, and I'm not getting a mule deer again. You know, again, I wanted, even if it wasn't a mule deer, I would have been fine with an antlered species as a whole. You know, that's a pretty good salty there. So we're not getting the mule deer. We are getting great ones. So I'm gonna give that decision like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I'll have to. The proof is gonna be when it's rolled out. You know, it should be incredibly difficult to get great ones. I think that these great ones definitely will make it incredibly difficult to get great ones, especially given the fact that the way the community has figured on getting great ones is not going to work. It's going to have to be a completely different thing. And this is why I think the dog is going to be rolled out in unison with all this. I do believe that the fox, the pheasant are going to be on the new map. And I do believe the meta is probably going to be use the dogs. You're going to have to use the dogs to flush the pheasant. You're going to have to use the dog to go after the elusive species like fox. So it's all going to kind of play in unison, it seems like to me. And we'll see how that looks when it's executed. You know, right now we're just getting the highlights, but we got to see when the community starts breaking stuff and the community starts figuring stuff out exactly how it's all going to work. Okay, the other thing they mentioned is a weapons pack, and I said I didn't want another weapons pack. This one actually looks pretty dope, especially because it's not just a weapons pack, so I'm not mad about it. But this is going to be also roll out on the 3rd, and it's going to be a bolt action pack. And some of these rifles, if you're new to the game, this is going to help you avoid having to grind the way that the OG players did for like the canning and the 7mm. This is going to help you start right off. If you have this DLC, you're going to be able to take down some of the bigger animals, the class 9 animals, the bisons and the water buffaloes of the world. And I don't hate that. But that was kind of already accomplished with the modern weapons pack because they give you a 300 right off rip, you know? So you can decide. I think I will get it though, just because they're rolling out, I think it's a 300, a 450, and a 375. That 375 looks like it is going to be maybe the new move for big boy hunting, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to try that one out. I don't dislike it, especially since it's not just a weapons pack we're getting. right, the last thing they said about the third and what we can expect to get on the third was they're going to try to make the Hunting Club beta playable. And the Hunting Club beta has never been overly impressive. The Hunting Club beta has been super underutilized. When I first got the game, it was kind of just sat there and like you didn't really do anything with it. They've since tried to roll out challenges and stuff with it, which that's nice, and it seems like that's what they're going to do going forward. Because he said they're basically getting a rebrand, right? I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong if you've heard it, but it sounds like he said that they're just not even calling it the Hunting Club anymore. It's going to be challenges. And we're getting daily challenges now, not just weekend challenges. That's a good update. I definitely like that idea. We're going to be able to pick our challenges, also like that. For some of you guys, you may be interested, when you pick your challenges, you're going to get to pick, do you want a photograph or harvest challenge? And if you want a photograph challenge, you are an absolute mad lad, and I salute you for it, but man, I hate the photography on this game. So if that's where you want to go, more power to you, man. It's not going to be me. I'm picking harvest every single time. But I do think that's probably the thing I can have the most, 100% positive things to say about. They definitely do need to work on the Hunting Club. And if we're going to be moving toward working on that and making it more playable, like giving us challenges and stuff like that, that's going to be dope. Especially because this new map is supposed to also have a skeet shooting range is what it looked like. And if all that coupled together, I think they could really do a lot with it. But yeah, so let's see. On the new map, I'm going to give it, we'll start with a dog. The dog is either going to be a 5 because I don't care about the dog, or if they actually revamp the system for the dogs the way the guy kind of said, then I could see it going all the way up to like an 8. I could see it being very useful if that's the way it's going to work with the German short-haired pointer. With the new map, let me make sure I'm enunciating this correctly. I don't want to say it wrong. Salzweisen Park. On Salzweisen Park, I'm going to give it worst case scenario, it's going to be awful, right? Worst case scenario, it's going to be a mini Hirschfelden and nobody's going to play it. So that's going to be like a 2. Best case scenario, it's going to probably be like a 6. Like I hate to be down on it because I'm going to be on the map a ton when it first comes out just to see. I hope I'm wrong. But best case scenario, it's going to be a poor man's Reventuli, I think. Just because Reventuli, when they rolled that out, Reventuli had a ton of new species. Boy, they ran perfectly, missed that shot. But Reventuli rolled out a ton of new species, and it was the first small game map. So, this is kind of trying, in my opinion, it's going to be like Reventuli, but like diet Reventuli. And that's automatically gonna make it not everyone's favorite. Unless, of course, it's substantially smaller. He did say they had rendered the map down, and maybe if the map has been rendered down, it's going to turn into a shooting gallery. And if that's the case, then maybe it'll be a great map. Maybe it'll be a map that everyone loves. But I envision it probably as a 6, and it probably will be the meta for a Great One grind, though. I'm gonna be honest. For the 2 new Great Ones, it'll probably be the meta. And the reason I think that is because it's a smaller map, which means you can clear much. I'm getting attacked, I think. I just can't find him. Maybe not. Yep, there he comes. It's just a small guy anyways. But because it's smaller, it's going to be easier for people to set up tents and grind it, especially since these are not going to be herd animals. So I do believe it'll be the meta for a Great One grind. But other than that, I'm going to predict a 6. Worst case scenario, it's going to be like unplayable. It's going to be like Hirschfeld in 2.0. And then best case scenario, it's a super small map that becomes a shooting gallery, right? And the only reason it's not getting a higher marks, you're only giving us 2 new species, the Fergus duck and the gadwall. As far as great ones are concerned, I'm giving that one cautiously a 7. I don't mind the idea of a great one. The only reason it's not higher is because I'm butthurt we don't have a muley great one yet. And I think that's what the community has asked for over and over again, and we're just not going to get it. And I'm coming to the conclusion we're never getting a great one mule deer. However, the idea of a pheasant is pretty dope. And the idea, especially coupled with a fox, because what it's going to do is, like, a lot of people who will just do nothing but sit there and stack and manage their populations and stuff like that, and that's how they live their lives on this game, those people are going to be shit out of luck. You're not going to be able to do that the same with the fox, and definitely not with the pheasant. So in that regard, I don't hate it, right? And the guy calling it the Dark Souls of grinds seems accurate, and I'm kind of here for that. So I'm gonna give that a 7. Don't dislike that at all. The actually trying to make Hunting Club playable, putting some effort into Hunting Club, I'm gonna give that an 8. I do think that has been super underutilized, and I do kind of like the idea that they're moving toward the idea of making Hunting Club something that we can all enjoy. All right, and the last part of the video was a preview into next year. And guys, this is also not helping the rollout of this map, in my opinion, but giving us the preview into next year, when we know we're getting 2 new maps. This is what they announced. We're getting 2 new maps. One of them's a winter map, and, you know, we know they listened to Flinter. They mentioned him when they talked about fixing the dogs. So he's mentioned Greenland a lot. If we're getting a Greenland map next year, great. I'm looking forward to that. If the next map after that's Africa 2.0, excellent. I'm looking forward to that too. The problem is, you make these big announcements and get people hyped, and even the lady doing the interview seemed kind of like she was like, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to on December 3rd, but man, next year's going to be great. That was kind of my takeaway from it. And I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm pretty excited because it's going to be new species, new map. You're always excited no matter what. I caution people to not get too excited before we even see gameplay, you know? Because I'll be honest, when I first saw Sundar Patan, I thought that was going to be one of my favorite maps. It's not. Everyone was super hyped about Mississippi when it came out because Gator were going to be on it. No one hunts that anymore. So I'm just telling people, like, yes, be excited. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to buy all of it, you know. But at the same time, just be aware, this isn't exact. Like, yes, they're listening to the community. Yes, they're giving us a new map, not cosmetics and stuff like that. That's all dope and what's appreciated. Where they're not listening to the community is things like I know people who would give up pretty much a new map, an entire year without a new map, if we could fix like spotting animals at further distances or rendering problems and things like that. I know people who would give up having, this year we're going to have 3 new great ones in a year. I know people who would give up all 3 great ones if they could have 1 mule deer, That's kind of why I feel like we're hit and miss with this news today. And this is why I had to redo this video, because to be honest with you guys, my first video, I had a little bit of that hype too. Like I was watching this, I'm like, man, they're really hitting on it. And maybe they are. And that's to be determined once it's all out, guys. But taking a step back, a more measured response is there's going to be positives, I'm sure, but still there's so many things that we as a community have asked for that we're still waiting on, So that's going to be it, guys. This has been my review to the winter preview. We did a little bit of gator hunting, got a tower croc hunting, got attacked quite a few times, but our guy lived to take this outpost here. And yeah, guys, so be on the lookout for new stuff on December 3rd, because we are going to be dropping left and right. If you are subscribed, you're the GOAT. You're the OGs who've been here since day one. I really appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed, please consider liking and subscribing, because we will be on the new map starting day one, and we're going to be on it for quite some time, I do imagine. But anyways, guys, I've been Prince Pyramid, and we'll see you next time.